Hey everyone, how's it going? Pixel saying, so I haven't been streaming TCM recently. I haven't streamed the game in over 2 weeks, so I thought I'd want to do a podcast just going over explaining why I haven't really been streaming the game that much. I'm just got a few topics on my mind. Most of you guys could probably guess why I haven't been streaming it that much at all. And if I'm being brutally honest, I'm really not that excited for the new content coming out. I know the stuff has been leaked since the tech test way back when. I don't even know when the tech test was out. But, we are finally getting the new content next week, which I believe is on the 28th, next Tuesday, when Chucky does drop on Dead by Daylight as well. But, for me, overall, with just ASYM games, I'm just kind of fed up with them right now. I'm kind of tired of them releasing as, like, glorified betas at this point, if I'm being totally honest. Now, with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I know the gameplay is a lot of fun. And, yeah, I mean, I'm level 99 on the game. That doesn't really account for much these days because there's like so many people level 99 on that game now. But it has a massive drop off of players since launch. It reached over 4 million players, and on the Steam charts and stuff like that, it has dropped a lot of players. And I kind of want to talk about that rather than me being negative. I just want to say a few things, get off my chest why I think this happened, and just why I personally don't play it. And I know there's a lot of people who genuinely just play a game for a few hours, just to have some fun with their friends. That's totally fine. I'm not bashing anyone who likes the game. I'm sure you guys enjoy the game, but for my personal opinion, I need to get that across to a lot of people. So with the game, the way I see it, okay, it came right. So let's backtrack a little bit. Obviously, I covered Evil Dead for 16 months roughly, if not longer. I covered the game since before it came out. I covered it when it got announced at the fucking Game Awards in like 2021 or whatever, or 2020. I can't remember exactly what year it was. I think it was 2021. And, I broke down every single trailer leading up to the game's launch. As you can see behind me on my top shelf, I'm a huge fucking Evil Dead fan. And, of course, I got an Army of Darkness poster there. So you have no idea how fucking excited I was that we were finally getting an Evil Dead game. At the time, I was covering Dead by Daylight. So that's another ASYM game. But when I seen Evil Dead, and I was like, wow, this is going to be an asymmetrical game, 4v1. This is going to be fucking huge. This is Evil Dead. Wow. Right, so it's my favorite franchise, getting an ASYM game. Of course, I'm going to go hard on there. However, it wasn't without its issues at launch and in its betas. So the betas were fun. I think it was probably the most fun time we had playing Evil Dead was during the beta, because nobody knew what the fuck they were doing, and it just led to this really, really fun replay loop of just trying to learn the game and learn how to play it. The servers had issues, but you did play with a few devs in the beta as well, which was also fun. However, they only had a beta on Xbox, which sucked. TCM's tech test only had a tech test on PC. Again, not the full console crossplay that we were all expecting, unfortunately, for everyone to get their hands on the game early. And this kind of leads into a lot of things of, choosing to buy a game and being able to test it out. With Evil Dead, you could not share anything during that beta. At least with the tech test on TCM, you were free to stream it. But, it's all licensing and shit going on behind the scenes there. However, these games come out after their betas, obviously, and they still felt very beta-esque. I'm being totally honest here. I think both games just felt so much like a beta. I was like, games always come out these days, and they are basically going to be something like special in a year's time. That's what you hope. Okay, I feel like we shouldn't have to wait. Okay, I feel like these games need to come out and they need to be ready at launch, and at least get something as a strong foundation at launch with good player retention. So the thing with Evil Dead, the problem with it, why it felt so much like a beta for so long, is the lack of progression. Okay, so the progression was shit for Evil Dead, the game, at launch. It was really bad. All you got people level 25, it didn't take too long, and then you kind of left just farming spirit points for a long ass time between content drops. And it didn't cost a lot once you did farm those spirit points to get someone maxed out once they did come out. So this is the same kind of problem we're having with TCM here, where, you're level 99, you've got loads of fucking skill points sitting there, nothing to spend them on. Oh, 2 new characters are coming out. You're just going to max them out at level 10 straight away. Then all you have to do is level up their abilities. it's kind of like a vicious cycle here where we're just not getting enough progression or the right kind of progression in these games. And this is why I keep thinking like they're glorified betas. They really are. They're not finished products. They're not well thought out before they come out. It feels like these games lately, you know, they're in development for like 2 years. They come out and then it's like, all right, get the game out and fix it later. That's kind of how it's happening with these games. And then I'm tired of it. I'm really exhausted of it. This is why I've been streaming fucking games from the original Xbox, like Fistful of Boomstick. This is why I've been playing Diablo on stream. I know a lot of you guys aren't Diablo fans, but I know I just needed to do something that was fun for me for a change. And, you know, playing through Dead Space as well this week, which was a lot of fun too. So this is where we're at, unfortunately, with ASYM games. And, you know, TCM... As I keep saying, it's a $40 price tag game. It's been on sale already. I think it might be on sale right now, actually, for Black Friday. I'm not 100% certain on that. I haven't really done any research on that. But, you know, the game's been out, what, 3, nearly 4 months? I would say closer to 4 months now. I think it's 4 months in November when it's out. However, I'm just sick of the mentality of, let's be patient, let the devs work on the game, let it cook, and let it get to a nice point. I guess they have deadlines, you know, they push a game out, whether it's working or not, it seems that way. Like, I feel like this game needed a nice delay, maybe 6 months, nothing too drastic. I don't think 6 months of a delay is too much for a video game. I don't think Texas should have released in the state it was in, and honestly, the state it's currently in as well, it still probably wouldn't be warranted a full launch, and I say that because you've only got 10 characters in the game. You've got 5 victims and 5 family members. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot you can do there because it's an IP. However, you know, you can create a lot of, you know, good characters around that. Obviously, we're getting Black Nancy and Danny in the next update. So, however, if it being a 4v3 game, I feel like we definitely needed a bit more variety in the characters to choose from. Because, you know, if you couldn't get Leland, Connie, Anna, or Julie, a lot of people would be stuck, you know, a lot of people would be stuck either playing Julie or Sunny and they didn't like that. Understandable. I feel like they're lower characters. Part of the problem, again, you know, just balancing and that type of thing, you know, characters kind of just feeling useless and not being able to actually pick them or feeling like you can do anything while you play those characters. Totally understandable. It's all different play styles at the end of the day. But again, it's only 5 victims for 4 people to choose from. It's not a lot. And again, it's just not great. 3 maps. The 3 maps in general that launched, apart from the family house, they don't feel unique enough to me. And again, that was another problem. You know, the basement designs are a little bit different, but they all look the same. The layouts are different, but, you know, it doesn't feel that much different playing on gas station's basement, really, to playing on family house basement. It's, to me, you know, just looking at it visually, it's all very samey. And it's the same when you go up top out of the basement, looking around the map, it's all sort of plays out the same. It can get a bit repetitive. That's all I'm saying with the current 3 maps in the game. Of course, we are getting the new map, which is Nancy House, which, again, hopefully is sort of fun. But again, it looks very, very similar to the current maps that we have, which is a growing concern because I don't want to bring in Dead by Daylight too much because, yes, it's been out for 7 years or whatever, and it's got a shitload of maps. But even with the maps that were visually similar, so that we're in the same realm, you've got Red Forest there, the Temple of Purgation, you know, those are in the same realm. You've got all the Auto Haven maps and all that. You know, when you look at those, they are visually similar, but they play out a lot different. And they sort of did that well. And it kind of boils down to me saying that this game doesn't have enough procedurally generated stuff. You know, not enough random things happening or events happening within the game, which sucks because I feel like, I mean, they touched on this on the previous dev Q&A or dev discussion video that they did. Matt said that there's a chance that the fuse can spawn right by the fuse box. You know, they didn't want that to happen, but when there's only like 3 set locations for each thing here, so there's like 3 set locations for a fuse spawn in a certain area, and there's a 3 set location for a fuse box spawn on the whole map, it's kind of going to fucking happen really quickly. And to me, I just don't understand how they didn't see that before the game come out and thought this is going to be a problem. Once you get your game in front of the eyes of millions and millions of people are playing it, obviously you're going to see a lot more. But at the end of the day, if, if I'm in a boardroom designing game balancing, I'm like, okay, so we have an escape, we have a fuse box. How many locations do we need the fuse box to have? For me, minimum, it should be 5. Okay, it should be 5 different fucking locations for the fuse box to spawn. Not 3, because 3 is way too easy. This is, again, why I haven't been streaming TCM. It's because I'm not saying I'm really good at the game, but I'm saying Victim is way too fucking easy. It has been since launch. It gets really boring. And yeah, a lot of people might say, well, you can die playing Victim, you know, and I get, you know, I understand that you can die playing Victim. And this is part of the problem as well. You either die really fast in the game, or you're going to die later in the game. If you die really fast in the game, you know, that's it, game over. You've waited so long in a queue. Again, part of the problem here. The fucking lobby system, the lobby time is the worst I've seen in any video game. Probably, speaking for the majority of you guys here, you'll all agree that the lobby system is a pile of shit. So, when you finally get into a game that you've queued in for like 8 minutes or whatever, you die in like 30 seconds. It could happen to anyone. Doesn't matter how well skilled you are at the game, it can just fucking happen because of Leatherface. Or, you know, you get a Johnny rushed down the basement because Grandpa got woke up early. It's just, it can happen to anyone. Not saying it happens all the time, but it's a possibility. But for me, I'm just saying Victim is way too easy. So you can die really quick. If you don't die really quick, you have the chance, you have this sort of like a minute, 2-minute window where you can rush up and get something done. Stop playing for the Valve, stop playing for Fuse, or try and go for an Exegate, depending on who you're playing as. This is the problem again. It's sort of like, and I think an average game of TCM would probably be playing out for about 5 minutes because of how fast the game is playing. If it's not played out fast, okay, this is again the problem. A few people might die on the Victim side. You're then left with like 1 or 2 people against 3 family members. You know, the table is kind of turned there. Even if the game plays out long, it's obviously going to get more difficult because there's less victims to try and escape. But the problem is with those 2 victims is obviously the family's just way stronger then. So it's like the game sort of shifts down here where the family is kind of weak sort of at the start of the game because they've got to set up and all that. And then the victims are like up here because all they have to do is get a fucking unlock tool and go up, get a valve, put the valve on and escape. This obviously doesn't really happen much on the family house map because it's a lot more harder. But, you know, kind of getting the gist of things. If you play on gas station, you play on slaughterhouse, you know, just grabbing the fucking valve, it can just be so easy as an escape, or even finding the fuse. So as the game goes on, you know, the family, you know, steadily creeps up like that. And then, you know, a few victims could escape by the time they've actually crept up to that level. And again, this is the problem. If, you know, a couple of victims die, then the family kind of just goes up here. And the leftover victims, the 2 people, are just, you know, really going to fucking struggle. So, you know, it's hard to explain, really, how I'm sort of seeing the game balance and the pace of the game. But this is how I've been not wanting to play the game, because I know if I'm going to play as Victim, I play as Leland mainly, or I play as Anna, I'm just going to run upstairs. I'm going to do the valve. Oh, you can't defend the valve very well. I'm just going to backstab you a couple of times. It's even worse if you're not playing against people who are on comms. So it just kind of leads to this unfun experience where I either go and jump out the fucking family house window, kick the gen, and run out in the couple of minutes, because God knows how many times I've done that. I have absolutely no idea how many times I've done that. There's probably a fucking stat within the game how many times I've done that, but I've got endless clips of me playing Leland, Sonny, Anna, just running out the front of the house, kicking the gen and running out, and then I'm gone. And it just can happen so damn quickly. And this is the weird shift that we have in the game. It's just the game plays too quick. And it's not about a rush meta or anything. It's not about a play style. It's just, that's kind of the optimal way to play. Stealth, again, okay, so they say they want to bring stealth more into the equation, which they're going to be doing in the next big patch, apparently. The weird thing is, when we all went through the hotfix phase for the game, the stealth was nerfed. For some reason, they didn't want people to be able to pick stuff up really quietly, fast. It's like, well, what's the point? That you want your game to be stealth? Let us have stealth then. At least have the stealth perks fucking work. There's no victim. Like, most of the victim stealth perks don't work in the game, especially the Grandpa Sonar one and the one where you can stay hidden from Grandpa. They don't work because you still get highlighted, and you won't sometimes see the family highlighted when Grandpa does his sonar scream. This again is a problem of why I say this game is a glorified beta. Yes, we went through a hotfix phase. Oh my god, Gun are so fucking amazing. They're out of this world, the best developers ever. I'm not sure where we got this mentality from as a community for this fucking game, by the way, because Gun don't really have the best track record of games. And, you know, they did Friday the 13th. A lot of people enjoyed Friday the 13th. I never really played it that much, but it felt very rudimentary. And I'm not bashing on the game or anything. It was probably a really good competitor to Dead by Daylight back in the day. And, you know, I have watched people play it, and it does look a lot of fun. But this is the problem with kind of Gun's mentality of they don't want to make a video game. They want to make a movie interactive experience. Even Wes said himself, we don't make video games, we make the games where you're sitting in a cinema with your buddy, you just watched a horror movie, and then you turn to each other and you say, well, how would you play out in this movie? Like, and that's the games they make. I think it's kind of a weird strategy to be going into video games, creating something along those lines, because it's a video game at the end of the day, and I think times have changed. You know, video games get a lot different these days. You know, you make them more modern. And it's so hard to find a game to trust right now. And this is my problem. You know, I haven't been streaming TCM. I don't have a main game to cover. You know, the game I've spent the most time in now is Diablo. And I know you guys aren't all fans of Diablo, so it's not really an option for me there, as much as I'd like it to be. You know, there's other games like Payday 3, World War Z that I'd like to cover, but again, it's not really going to be a smart option to do that on my channel if I intend to keep this thing growing and, you know, just to kind of sustain myself as a content creator. It's kind of a mess that I have in my head right now. I'm very miserable about it, honestly, just kind of, you know, lying there, just sort of all quiet, just overthinking, like, what am I doing with my channel? I have absolutely no idea. But, you know, just going back to Texas now, and why I keep saying it's a glorified beta. I launched this game on the first day it come out after I played Evil Dead, and just something did not sit right with me. So when we went through the tech test, I just, you know, I went in blind. I was just like, well, you know, I was kind of being optimistic about the game. I was like, all right, well, I can see them, you know, removing this, reworking that, you know, maybe this will get a change. That'll be nice. The game come out, it was very fucking similar to the tech test, if not worse, because you had, at least in the tech test, people just wanted to play the game. And then you started overthinking about the lobbies, and all that happened when the game launched. And, you know, it went on ridiculous queue times. PC crossplay got removed out of the crossplay pool there because of the hackers. And when they did that, they put us to a 5-minute countdown timer. Then they went 3v3 and 4v2. I was just like, the way this was being treated in its early stages of the game's launch, it was just wrong. And it just felt like such bad decision making, to the point where I was like so put off from the game. But I persevered. I wanted to keep playing it. I even went and watched the movies for the franchise. Became a fan of the movies. I like TCM 1, I like TCM 2, and this is from someone who's not really a big horror fan. You know, Evil Dead is probably, you know, my favorite horror of all time, obviously. But I thought, you know, I need to branch out here. I need to do something smart that's going to sustain my channel and try and, you know, invest myself and get acquainted, as you were, with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre license. And I did that. I really did that. And I started grinding the game. I started having a lot of fun with it. But those just same things just kept eating away at me slowly over time, to where, like, this is not a finished product. You deserve kind of better of a game to be covering on your channel than this, because, you know, this ain't it. Like, this was just eating away at my brain all the time. All the streams I did, every single time I was playing them, I was just like, you know, there's something better. You just know it. You just know it. And I just want to talk about that a little bit, because The reason I was having those thoughts was I'm not someone who really talks about game balancing too much. Okay, like I said, the rush meta and stuff in TCM, the gameplay is a lot of fun, and the replayability of it. And I'm not just, I know I'm not a victim player. I'm not a family player. I play both sides. This is saying something. Okay, I've covered ASYM games for the last 3 or 4 years or whatever. Never really been a killer main. Okay, I've played a few hours of killer on Dead by Daylight. I haven't played a shit ton. I have 4,500 hours on Dead by Daylight. I would say, 3/4 of that are Survivor. Same thing with Evil Dead. I did play a lot of Demon, but I was primarily a Survivor player because that's just how I enjoy the games. That's how I enjoy the ASYM games. It was the same with Evolve as well. I was always a hunter. I was never the monster on Evolve. And this is the fucking problem with Texas, okay? This is the only game where I've said, okay, I'll play. I genuinely enjoy playing family more than victim. And to me, that's just not a good sign for me personally, because that's just weird. I find that very bizarre. I'm playing characters like Leatherface and Sissy and Hitchhiker. I love these characters, by the way, but it's just not me as his game. I kind of just went to that side because that was the only way I could sort of enjoy the game, because like I said earlier, victim just felt too easy for me, or it was just too quick of a gameplay to where you die, you escape fast, or you're left in the game too long to the point where you can't escape, and then you just left in this weird cycle. It just feels very bizarre playing victim on this game. And I'm not saying victim's too weak or anything, but I think there needs to be a shift on how we can play the game. And like they said, they want to bring stealth into the equation a lot more. To be honest, I just don't think stealth, and even from the first few weeks of the game, I came to the understanding that stealth meant absolutely nothing, and you could just play Leland, pick up a fucking unlock tool really fast, wake up Grandpa really fast. There wasn't really any downside to that, even like doing that either. So, and I don't think Gun have even suggested that they're going to be doing anything about that. And this isn't just one of the problems with the game. Like I said, we talked about game balancing, but I'm not wanting to talk about game balancing as to why I'm not really seeing a future for this game. It is the content strategy. Player retention is the most fucking important thing in a video game. This game, just although the gameplay is fun for a few hours, and yes, yeah, I said I'm level 99. I've done a lot of hours on this game. Even though it's really fun, everything else surrounding the game is absolutely terrible. It is low budget. It is, deemed tricky by the developers. It's something that was kind of done on the cheap. And let me get into that a little bit, as to like these were the things again that were eating away at my brain, telling me that this was not the game to cover on my channel. And as much as I would like it to be, it's just not it, because one, okay, this is the very first thing when I launched the fucking game that just turned me off immediately. And it might not be a big deal for a lot of people, but it was a big deal for me. And it's how I see a video game, was the terrible fucking UI on the main menu. I do not like this. It was just, when I looked at it, I was like, right. I was hoping this was going to change from the tech test, but when you look into the skill trees, the way everything's laid out, the design of everything, it just doesn't feel like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It feels like State of Decay, and I've talked about this a few times on previous podcasts and discussion videos. I do not fucking like this UI. It is terrible. Then you look into the skill trees, the way the skill trees are laid out, awful. Really fucking bad, right? And then you've got loads of these filler perks that are causing problems in the game, and having the whole random perk roll, people respect, it's just part of the fucking headache there. So that's one thing. And just looking throughout the whole menu system, it just looks terrible. Like, even the lobby looks bad. So you finally get into a game, the lobby is just a bunch of PNGs of the characters with some levels on them, and then your character's standing there that hasn't got any fucking anti-aliasing or whatever the hell you want to call it applied to them. They look all jagged. It just looks so fucking mobile. I don't know. I don't even know. I think mobile games have better lobbies sometimes. I just don't even know what this is. It just looks terrible to me. Okay. And it might be a bit nitpicky, but when I loaded up Evil Dead and I looked at the UI on that game, I was like, holy fuck, this looks amazing. You stand in front of the Delta, the fucking soundtrack's playing in the background. That's like Army of Darkness, because it was like the original composer from the movies. I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. I got tired of that lobby system after lobby view after a while, and yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Evil Dead UI was perfect or anything like that, but if you look at games like Ghostbusters, who was made by Ilphonic, if you look at Predator Hunting Grounds, which was made by Ilphonic, if you look at Friday the 13th, which was made by Ilphonic, all their UIs just look spot on. Like the lobby, I think, is the first thing. It's the splash page of your game. That's the first thing people see when you load a game up. It needs to look really nice. And then we've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre here that looks like something that was done in Photoshop in about 5 minutes. And you know what? I'll say it to you guys right now, because I know a lot of people won't understand this, but when I looked into the game files, there's a folder that says lobby or main menu. I don't know which one it is exactly. You can actually piece together all the individual pieces that's in the lobby. So the house in the background is actually just a PNG, which you can't see right now, by the way, because there's a fucking 50% scaled up image of Nicotero Leatherface to buy in the store. So you can't even see that. And then you just, little PNGs of birds and it was just bad. Okay. So that was the first thing that kind of put me off the game. The second thing was when I finally started playing the game. And, learning it was a lot of fun. Learning the game is always a lot of fun. And that's how you kind of have fun playing a video game a lot of the time, is it has a learning curve to it. But when I started interacting with things, oh my God, it felt so bad. Like, it's just from the animations to the interactions, it just felt off to me again. It's like, trying to grab a valve, trying to shut a door, I'm grabbing a valve. It's just... everything felt weird. I don't know what it was. Everything just felt so out of frame. Like, it wasn't a smooth experience. You have to be standing in the right spot to stab Grandpa. You had to be, in the perfect frame to pick an item up. And, this is a game in 2023, and I know we keep putting gun on a pedestal. We need to talk about Sumo Nottingham a little bit. They are racing car developers making a fucking third-person ASYM game. I don't know what's going on in that decision making there. I think you need to stick to your strong suits being a game developer and what you're used to making, instead of coming out and all of a sudden you're a fucking ASYM developer. It's a bit fucking weird, honestly. Maybe again, it could just be a budget thing. Like, they went on the cheap for these developers and was like, okay, we need this game done in 2 years. Just do your best. I mean, I know Gunn has a lot of passion behind their horror franchises, and I don't want to shit on them or anything, because I'm sure there's a lot of hard workers there. They're not a massive studio at all, they're mainly a publisher, but Sumo Nottingham was probably not the correct decision making there in terms of creating this game. I think another developer could have had a better hand in it. They could have been a bit more making the game feel more polished. I think that's what it is ultimately, is the game just lacks polish. And that's just what I felt when I loaded the game up for the first time. And then, my internet cut out for a week when I started covering this game, and I was... maybe that was a sign to being like, this is probably not the game for you to cover if your internet has just been cut off for a week. I finally got my, because I was moving it. Here's how I seen it. We left Evil Dead. I was moving into a new house. I left my old house, and I wasn't doing. I was busy moving things, and then we moved into here, and I was like, okay, we got a new ASYM game. I've got a new office. I got a new setup. All right, I'm ready to start from fresh here. Start with a new ASYM game, and then boom, fucking TCM comes out, and I just felt so disappointed. And then I covered it for a few days, and like I said, my internet died for a week. I came back, and I went hard on the fucking game. I went really hard on it. I did a few build videos. It's because I missed the early weeks. I stopped doing build videos because I just felt it was pointless. And for me, this isn't a game where you can do, really creative builds. It's kind of devoted to like 5 perks, 6 perks that you can get to choose from for your skill trees, and putting the attribute points in the right place. It's not complicated. It's not a game where you can sit there and discuss a build to viewers. It's not something where you can say, well, if you play this build, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, relatively speaking, the game plays out so similar to the point where builds are just kind of a backup and not something that are gonna really overhaul your gameplay experience, unless there's like one perk on Victim, Choose Flight, which you just put in every build, and it's the same on Family. You just run Scout, and then you just put over 2 perks, whatever the fuck you want to put in there. And obviously the main attribute, Stealth Proficiency. On Family, it's always Savagery and Endurance. That's like the main thing there. And there's just no real reason to sit here and be pretentious and pretend to you guys that I've got the best Leland build, because I don't. I really don't. Everyone's got their own best Leland build, and this is why I just never really kept doing build videos. My last build video was for Sissy. It did all right, I got some good views on it. That's not always the important thing. It just, when I was doing them, and when I do the build videos for TCM, I just don't feel like it's a necessity. It feels like I'm just doing it, or forcing myself to do them, and just to see how they play out, or just for the OCD purposes of getting like a build out for everyone on my channel. I know, that's just how I see it. I feel like a lot of people could do really well with whatever build they decide to put on their character and play it around for yourselves, because the game plays out so short. Builds, like I said, don't come in too much effect a lot of the time. You rely on the character's abilities more than the builds. And so, and like I said, people know the key attributes there now. So again, because I had that week downtime, it just felt so pointless to continue to do build videos for this game. And that's not who I am. I like being someone who creates the tips, the guides, and the builds for everyone who plays these games. And I just didn't have that passion or urgency to do that for TCM. I did so many for Evil Dead. You guys know, I've got like 4 builds out for Leader Ash. I've got about 6 out for Army of Darkness Ash. I had so many because the game played out for like 20 or 30 minutes to where the build would make sense, and I had to explain how to use the build. If we did a damage build with Army of Darkness Ash, you never really spam finishes to regen health. And then I had another build for Army of Darkness Ash where it was all about spamming finishes and regen health. So there was different ways you could do that. With TCM, I just didn't have that. That's why I didn't do the build videos for that, and I didn't have the passion for it. And ultimately, again, we're just going to go back to why I think it's a glorified beta, and we might have got a bit sidetracked there. It is a podcast, so we're just talking about a bunch of things here, and just my thought processes about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So we talked about the UI, the loadouts. Then we went on to the gameplay interactions and how I felt like they were just done so poorly and lack polish, and it's just a horrible mess. And then you got the door slam mechanics, and this was another thing. So when this first started happening in the early stages of the game, when it first launched, I was looking at the door slam mechanic happening, and people just going fucking horizontal in one frame. I was like, what the fuck am I playing here, man? I know it's not a AAA dev studio, and I know it's not going to be anything special, or, it's not going to reinvent the wheel in terms of gameplay, but what the fuck is that in this game? Okay, like, how tall is that face? Like, fucking 7 foot? I don't know. Like, this massive ass dude just getting floored off a fucking off a door. It's just weird. So yeah, I don't like the door slam mechanic at all. It just feels so out of place in a game that they say is so serious. Like, they keep taking themselves so seriously about this game, and then it has a mechanic in like that. That's probably the most out of place mechanic. And it's fun when it does work. Well, I say it's fun when it does work. And more or less, it just feels so out of place when it works, and I hate it. All right, it's a mess. Okay, I don't like that. I think We could have had way more fun perks and mechanics in place for when we shut the door. We instantly latch it. The family's got to break it down. There's fucking door particles flying everywhere. I would have loved all that shit. But that's not what we went with. We went with this weird ass mechanic of us like fighting over a door. The door's opened a little bit, but someone's standing on the other side, but that side's trying to slam it, so then the door's just like sort of stuck open a little bit, and then someone eventually gets knocked over off their ass, or the family member finally is able to walk through there and hit the victim. It's just it's weird. And then you had the occasions. I would say this was mainly in the early stages of your playtime, not just my playtime, but when you're first starting out to learn the game, of trying to shut the big metal doors behind you, and so you didn't get hit by Leatherface or whoever was chasing you. So many occasions you would see people just getting executed through the door or whatever. And this happened to me. I think it was probably the last fucking stream I actually did for Texas, but I was playing Leland or Sonny, I can't remember, and I just ran through a door, and it's actually door slammed Leatherface to where he started getting knocked over, but then he started executing me through the door, and I was just like, this is the game I'm playing right now. It just all sort of sunk in from there. It just went, interactions just didn't feel smooth or polished. And yeah, I know the whole latency comes into effect, but it's not the fucking thing I'm talking about here. It is just everything from picking up a simple health bottle, using a fucking Jedi Force grip, just being like, oh wow, grab this fuse that's fucking 10 yards away from me. It's weird as hell, and it just feels like something that they didn't care about too much, and it just feels rudimentary. It feels very beta. It really does. Now on to the third thing, which is probably one of the most important things here, is to why this game is a glorified fucking beta, and it is the crossplay system. Good lord. Okay, so they said things on the last dev stream as well. They said some shit about we'd have to create a website. You'd have to log into that website to play with your friends on crossplay. I might be dumb. I probably am dumb here, but I just want to go back to Evil Dead real quick. When I first launched that game, I do not remember ever having to fucking sign up to anything to have a friends list on crossplay. I don't recall that at all. I could be wrong, but I really don't recall signing up to a Saber website in order to play with my friends on that game and to have a friends list. Now, Evil Dead was a glorified beta as well for a long ass time because of their lobby system. The party would disband every single time that you ended a game, but they fixed that eventually. And they started kind of moving away from the beta type of feel of the game, and then they brought out a prestige system as well, which was shit. But that's a whole other topic. We're talking about friends list here. What was so nice and is so nice about these games with crossplay is having the friends list, because having to go through third-party systems like Discord is a real pain in the ass for a lot of people. For you guys who aren't in my Discord, who might want to play Texas with me, I'm online quite a bit, or at least I was online that game quite a bit, and I'd be playing solo because I don't even know if anyone's fucking playing the game. And their excuse is that we don't want to have you create a login or whatever. It's like, just do it. Really, I don't understand the mentality of just taking something away from players just because you don't want them to have the choice of having a friends list or to make an account with Gun or whatever. But because we all love them so much, apparently we all love them so much, and we have them on this pedestal, obviously I think we'd all be inclined to go and make a Gun Media account in order to play crossplay on this huge hit of an ASYM game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm speaking for myself here. I personally couldn't give a shit. I think people bitch about that type of stuff way too much. About, oh well, I've got to create an account. I've got to create a Capcom ID. Just fucking do it, man. It's 2023. You could go on your phone right now and do that shit in about 3 minutes. Who cares? Like, well, I just want to play my video game. It's like, yeah, but then you wouldn't be able to play your video game with people on other platforms who don't have an Xbox, who don't have a PS5, who don't have a PC. You know, that's the kind of, you know, the 3-minute sign up is a good compromise so you are able to have a nice thing in your video game. But I guess Gunn sort of overthought the situation, thought it would piss a lot of people off if we had to make an account to play the game. And to the point where they just went, no, just put a code-based system in. And the sad thing is, and I'm not just saying this from a streamer's point of view, but the problem with the code system is it can only be used once, and this creates more problems than it resolves, right? So just put it into perspective here. It would take you 3 minutes or whatever to sign up, or you can just click log in with Google or whatever on your Gun Media site and then link your console, okay? Link your Xbox or whatever you're playing on. So that takes 3 minutes, and then that's just done for your account. Every time you load up, friends list, boom, invite, get your friends in there. So now we're in kind of a horrible fucking predicament here where we send a code out to someone, we play a game. Oh, I've got another friend who wants to play. Well, let me disband the party. Let me send out another code to get 2 people in. Oh, I've got another, you know, fucking vicious cycle here to get in like 3 to 4 people into a game. And this, again, is a problem. Fair enough, if you could just send the code out again for people to join the game again, to, you know, join the same party, but that's not the case, you know? So, in the long term, you're wasting a lot of fucking time here. You know, how many hours do you have in the game? Who knows, right? I know I've got like 141 hours or something. 241 hours. I don't know. I really don't know how many hours I've got in the game. Level 99, so I've got a shitload of hours, and a lot of people do as well. How many hours have been spent waiting in a lobby and trying to get friends into a lobby? Really? You know, it's time to play versus fucking around. It's simple as that. And like I said, it's kind of some weird ass excuses as to why we never got a crossplay friends list in the game. And I just hate it. I hate it, and it just feels like a glorified beta again because of that. And, you know, these 3 things I've talked about, you know, we had the UI, we had the interactions, and then we had crossplay. These things is how I see video games. You know, just seeing them being like, oh, we have a crossplay friends list. Oh, that's great. We have a really nice looking UI. That's great. Oh, every interaction just feels smooth, and it doesn't feel like something that I've got to compromise my type of, you know, me to learn to play a video, like learn a specific frame to be able to do something in a video game. You know, I got to go out my way to combat the rudimentary feel of something. I shouldn't have to do that in a video game, and nobody should, really. Just to counter their lack of polish on the video game. So, you know, those 3 things, they have been eating at me since launch, and ultimately it's just ended up here where I just don't want to stream the game at all. I really don't. Like I said, I might stream when the new characters drop, and the new map, but I'm really just, I feel like it's not going to improve the game at all. It's going to be nice having new content, but where is the improvements? And, you know, there's all the price points. We've had so much controversy in this game. Yeah, it's only been out 3 to 4 months, but how many controversial topics and announcements have we gone through already? And it's not healthy. It's not a good sign. I'm fucking scared, okay? I'm scared of how people are taking this, because some people are saying this is really great. They clearly haven't played any other fucking multiplayer game before. If they think that some things that Gunn are doing are great and, you know, fucking out of this world and groundbreaking, because they're just not. They're really not. Fucking Payday 3 has had the worst launch possible. The servers didn't work. You couldn't play a heist. People are still playing that game. And they did all the right things. You know, you got the crossplay friends there. And, you know, they're adding free content soon as well. Two new heists. Well, I say new heists. They're from the old game. But bring back 2 free heists into the game. Rework for Payday 3. They're actually doing new animations and interactions. You know, they're improving the game like that. And it's been happening in loads of games, like World War Z as well. Saber have been improving World War Z since 2018, 2019, whenever the game come out. Changed up their whole perk system. They gave out new classes. They changed the weapon perk system. There's just a lot, okay, that goes on with a game over time. And, you know, that's as a live service game. And while that's happening, you throw content in the game. So I want to ask everyone right now, okay, it might not be a really big deal, but what has happened the most in Texas Chainsaw Massacre that has, you know, improved the game? What was that thing? What was that one thing? And it was something very fucking simple. Very simple that changed the game. And it was stun immunity on family. That's literally the only thing that has changed the game drastically. That's in my opinion. There's been nothing to improve fucking bugged perks, nothing to improve the interactions, just nothing like that. Instead, we got a price list. We got a fucking $17 skin, put it with $41 in cosmetics in the first content drop, man. And people are defending this. This is the fucking problem with games right now. And it's people buying into the shit. Look at Walking Dead Destinies and how much fun we had on that game. The game was a fucking mess, okay? And there was even people saying this was a fun game. What the fuck is going on? I feel like I'm losing my mind right now. I don't know where I'm at. I'm waking up every day thinking, who am I? What the fuck am I doing? Like, what is going on? I really don't know. There's just gaming right now is so fucking bad. And I feel like there's a lot of fucking toxic positivity people to blame to accept just mediocrity of these video games that's coming out. It's so pretentious, and I don't know what's going on, man. I really don't. I'm lost to the point, like I said, I don't even have a main game to cover. And the community of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is another reason why I don't want to cover the game anymore, because undoubtedly I'll have some pricks or cunts, I don't know, we'll have someone in the comment section saying, oh, you're just being negative for views. Oh no, it's just White Knights. There's way too many of them for these video games. You know what I'm most excited for, and I really want to fucking go hard for right now, is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because this is, again, it's going to be rock steady. They've got a good track record of making polished feeling games. And, you know, from what we know, that game, it's live service, and we know we're going to be getting, you know, regular content drops and some live service aspects. If I go back to Texas here, this game is a multiplayer this game is a multiplayer PvP game, right? Where is the live service? So far, we've had the 60 days skins drop and Nicotero Leatherface. And if this is the pace we're going to be getting content, I am, again, fucking terrified for the game. And they say, okay, we'll get into this actually in a minute. So this is the content schedule, right? This is how slow we're going to be getting new characters and new maps. I don't like that at all. And again, it's because it's a glorified beta. More shit should have been out at launch to whet our appetites for the longer run. You know, for us to be patient, for them to add content. The reason why people around the TCM community and why people left the game was because they were so starved of content, because the game just fucking lacks that substance. It can feel so plain to the point, you know, very vanilla. There's nothing spicing the game up. There's nothing coming out spicing the game up. $10 a character. Are you guys really going to tell me you're excited for Black Nancy? Someone who we're totally unfamiliar with? Unless you decide you want to sit there and read the lore about the game. Are you guys excited for Danny? Like, who the fuck are these people? Who are they? At least, you know, with Johnny and Sissy, you know, you can kind of play the characters and get to know them. But, you know, you had Hitchhiker, Cook, and Leatherface. They're from the movies. And they said they don't want to do a Texas verse in this game. But who's making a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game and they aren't going to try and put in every single character from the movies in there that they know the fan base love, that they know the fan base would enjoy, and how the game would play out. And this is the problem with Gun, and like they said, they wanted to make something where it's more of an interactive movie experience, so where you can play out how you would play out in a horror movie. But we have games like, we have games like The Quarry out there. We have games like Dark Pictures out there. You know, these decision-making games that ultimately, that's what they're sort of aiming for, but in a playable video game. It's weird to explain. If I'm being honest, it's just, for me, it's like they just wanted to make something simple, replayable, and they just, you know, kind of thought, let's just make our own lore up. And they got so tied to that lore, taking themselves so seriously, saying, well, we can't add this to the game because, you know, it's set 3 months before the main movie, so yeah, we can't add that to the game. What are you doing? Who cares? It's a fucking video game. I want to see shit in here that is fun. I want to see something that's going to give, you know, player attention. That's what we need. Battle passes, fucking, you know, skins dropping. And yes, we are getting currency to grind, okay? And I was kind of excited for that. So when they announced that they were adding currency into the game that we're going to be able to unlock, that are doing dailies, they're doing weeklies, that's very exciting. However, what are we going to spend them on? How is that? What's the earning system there? There's never any transparency on how that's going to work. And I guess we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. But it's a vital time. Like it's an important time for this game's lifespan right now to be transparent about those things. And it's just say we're going to earn, like, what is the currency going to be? Fucking feathers, because they're so obsessed with chickens. We're going to earn some feathers to spend on some character skins or a new character. What, we're going to earn 10 of those in 10 hours of gameplay? Because judging by the way they've done the XP grind on this game, that's probably going to be the case. Okay, you're probably going to earn one feather every hour, if that. And this is going to be a problem. And by the time you earn something, it feels like, to me, I'm scared of, like, what are we actually going to be able to spend that on? You know? Like, the way they're adding content at this pace, you know, 60 days per cosmetic or whatever, and nearly 4 months before they actually drop any actual content into the game, which again is coming with more skins, because I believe they're doing the family skins with this update as well. I'm just wondering myself, if we do have that progression system in where we can earn currency, what do we got to spend it on? Because it just doesn't feel right. I don't know. It feels like something that, again, should have been thought out pre-launch. Should have been in the game at launch. You guys can earn currency as you're learning the game. You can, you know, grind to get this execution. You can grind to get this weapon. You can grind to get a new character, this character skin, whatever. this is stuff. This is simple, basic shit that should have been in the game at launch. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of having to wait until a game decides or a dev company decides, all right, it's time to make our game fun. It's like, this should have been in the fucking their thought process before the game come out. And it's just what has turned me off from the game ultimately. And it's sad because, like I said, I got quite invested into the franchise. I got invested into the game. I was expecting, they started doing those hot fixes and, trying to scramble around, trying to save the game. And, then they just started shooting themselves in the foot by doing the price list. A lot of people didn't like the price list. And then here we are with the game. It's getting its new content next week, which I'm fine with. I might check it out, I might not. I'm really undecided on that because I just don't want this to be my main game, and I just don't have the faith or the hope that it's gonna change at all. Like I feel maybe in a year's time it might be worth picking this game up, but we've only got 6 to 9 months worth of content. At the pace of the way we're getting content right now, that's probably only another 2 or 3 content drops with characters and maps, and I don't think that's good enough. And I'm not gonna sit here and be entitled, but I feel like we should be getting something a bit more faster pace, especially if they want their game to have some player retention. And I'll just talk about that real quick. I think player retention should have been the most important thing on anyone's mind making a multiplayer PvP game. And I always want to go back, and it always stuck with me ever since I was like, what was I, about 10, 11, 12? I don't know. I'd have been about 12, 13 when Gears of War 2 come out. Okay, and I watched an interview with Cliff Bleszinski, who was the designer, the lead designer on that game. And he turned around and said, we want to create a game that we have people leaving it in their disc tray. Like, I feel like that's always a good sort of analogy or sort of motivation to create a video game. If you're creating a video game, you want it to be that game that somebody's going to be leaving in their disc tray all the time, wanting to load it up, wanting to play it. And that's what they did with Gears of War 2. Now, I believe that was an interview for Gears of War 2. It might have been Gears of War 3. But, I mean, to this day, I still believe Gears of War 3 had the best progression system I've seen in any video game ever. Honestly, you couldn't... I don't even think you could come close to the progression system that had in that game. It was so fucking good. But again, that was Epic Games. They do good stuff for Fortnite now. They kind of knew player retention was a big important factor. Even back then, they didn't release a lot of new content when the game come out, and that was fine because you had stuff in the base game to grind out, to play for every single time you hopped on and played it. And this is, and I feel like Diablo do that really well, where every time you load up, you've got something to grind for every time. You've got the player retention there. You can enjoy doing that. Dead by Daylight has it. Every time you load up the game, you've got your prestige system there you want to farm. You've got a rift you want to farm there. You can farm for iridescent shards to buy a certain outfit that you like. There's so much shit you've got going on there. Evil Dead sort of had it. Not great, because Evil Dead didn't even have a marketplace, and I think Evil Dead and Texas are just so fucking similar in the mistakes that they're making on a video game, where we don't have a marketplace, we don't have a battle pass, we go the traditional DLC route, not enough base content in the game for player retention. I think just those important key factors right there is what has just made these games have a massive downfall. It's just baffling to me, and I think, like I said before, it just baffles me even more. People defend it, and people come up to people come out to people like me, telling me that I'm entitled when I've played so many video games over my time, and the last 2 ASYM games have failed miserably because they lack content, and they lack the basic premise of player retention. Now, I stuck around with Evil Dead for a long time. And you could argue that I could do the same thing for Texas, but Evil Dead was my favorite franchise. I am going to stick around with that game for a long ass time. There was just something about loading that game up and just being like, man, I am playing as Bruce Campbell with his chainsaw right now. I am like just Evil Dead fanboy inside of me was losing his mind every time. And I just had that. I think with Texas, it's just not that kind of franchise to have. And I think Texas was almost the perfect opportunity to have a really good video game like we're getting. Like, you know, like I said, the gameplay loop and the gameplay itself, you know, I wouldn't say the feel, I don't know, there's something about Texas that hits the mark. Okay, there's something about it that gameplay wise it hits the mark, but there's just so many things around that one thing that just feels off to me completely. And I'll just talk about I mean, it's not really important, but we did talk about it a little bit, was the Gears of War 3 system in progression. So it's a bit of a weird comparison to make, but this is a game back in 2008, 9, 10, 2009, maybe 2010. I don't know. Whenever Gears of War 3 come out. So that's 13 years ago, roughly. So the game had a big campaign. That's primarily what Gears of War was all about its campaign. And then you had probably and it was the multiplayer that got me into gaming in general, but you know, one of the most fun multiplayers ever created. So you played through that. Now, this is what was really cool. And yeah, everyone was just a skin, really. You know, it wasn't just completely changing up the gameplay at all. Everyone was just a skin that you unlocked. However, there's something about leveling up, okay, and unlocking characters in a game. I think that was really cool. So with Gears of War, you could level up. You know, you get a level 14, you unlock Baird, you unlock Sam at level 20. You know, you just kept going and going and going. And then you had prestige as well. You had like, oh god, what was the prestige on that? I can't remember. They had like weird colors. They were like green, blue, then red, then gold, and then platinum, and then onyx or whatever. It was a long time ago. I can't remember. So you had those as the prestige on your level. It's a bit like how Call of Duty has that. And the really cool thing about that, though, was it, and I've never really seen it much in other games. Call of Duty might have had it, but it was a medal system, and this was so well done. So it was like, get X amount of kills with this weapon to unlock a skin. I thought that was such a really cool premise to do that. Get so many of these executions to unlock this skin for this character. It was things like that. And if like, I feel like this is what gets player attention. Is I think it's a mindset to a lot of people where you want to brag, okay? You want to have the bragging rights to what game you're playing with your friends. You want to show off what you've earned to your friends, right? You know, you want someone to hop on with a game with you sometimes, like on, for example, let's just say I hopped on Payday 3 right now. You kind of want to, you know, show off to your friends, like, oh, look, I've got the golden weapon skins or something like that. Like, that's how you kind of want to do things. And not just to your friends, but to people. I think with Dead by Daylight, you had that a little bit, you know, you prestige the characters up. You unlocked the bloody outfits to show, like, yeah, I've dedicated some time to this character. And even with Evil Dead's prestige system, at least we had that. Okay, we had the opportunity to level up a character like Prestige 5 Ash, and then you'd have the Prestige 5 badge there. However, the prestige system sucked because, you know, all you unlocked was a Screamer, but at least you got the badge to showcase your dedication to that and be like, wow, that guy put a lot of time on Leader Ash. We don't have that in Texas. The game is so flat with progression. It's like millions of XP. I don't know how much fucking XP that you need to get a level 99. And all you unlock, going through all those profile levels, you get the skill points to level up your characters, which is fine. But all you unlock is fucking concept art, behind the scenes videos, and trading cards. this at level 99, it's like the last few levels, all you unlock are those damn trading cards that somebody has sat and designed in about 10 minutes each. And you've spent hours getting there. It's just, it makes me want to just fall asleep, like just thinking about the progression in this game. And they have touched on it. Again, not gone into too much detail, like they want to, well, saying that, they went on to the topic of discussion about Prestige in the dev Q&A, but they didn't actually fucking say anything, and they kind of skipped over that part. And then they said something about open the skill, open the profile level cap. I've got like 400 odd skill points available. Why am I upping the profile level cap? And then they said something about the skill trees, and I was just like, I need to go back and watch that, because if it's what I think it is, it sounds terrifyingly close to Evil Dead's extra being able to level characters up beyond level 10, you know, that type of thing. It sounds dangerously close to that. I'm fucking terrified. I really need to go back and watch that segment about that again. But they did touch on something about you can go up to level 150 and then it's going to do something with the skill trees. And my God, man, if this isn't what we want, this isn't what a player base wants. I might be being too critical here, but, you know, I think it's only fair that I share my opinion on a game like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's only fair to you guys, a lot of people who subscribe to me for this game. And I said, I'm not being negative at all. It's just, I'm not going to force some positivity down your throats, being like, oh man, I can't wait for Danny and Nancy. Oh, it's going to be such a good update. I can't wait for the new map. It's going to be fucking sick. I can't wait for the shirtless Johnny and all these new... I'm not going to pretend like that. I'm just not. I'm going to be totally honest on how I feel about the video game. There's video games out there that I love and enjoy and play, like Fortnite, Diablo, World War Z, Payday 3. I fucking hate Saber's guts, but I'll sit and play and be honest with World War Z, saying it's a good game. It's, you know, they did a fantastic job with it. I just can't do that with Texas, and it's never for the sake of views. It's just, like I said, it all boils down to me just having a feeling where the game just doesn't sit right with me, and there's always something eating away at my brain every time I play it. And it's just, there's too many cumulative factors coming together that's just putting me off from playing this game. So I've got nothing to play for right now at all. This is why I haven't been streaming it. That's one of the main reasons I haven't been. There's just literally fucking no reason to play the game at all. I could sit there, I could level up my perks to level 3, perks that I'll never fucking use, and perks that could potentially be getting taken out of the game because they said they're removing perks and changing perks and all that shit that's going to go on. I just think it's just way too much, way too little of time. Like, it's just too much waiting for that kind of, like, waiting for something good to happen. It's just annoying me. But that's all. That's the only reason I could play the game, and I don't see the point in that. There's nothing to earn. There's no progression. I'm level 99. That's it. Like, that's the game. The only reason I could sit and play this game is, like, maybe it's to have fun with friends. But I'm 28 now, and I've just, every time I play a video game, I want my time I put in to feel worthwhile. The only reason it would feel worthwhile to me is entertaining you guys, bringing in more people to the channel. That's the only reason it would be worthwhile. But I know ultimately, the more I play the game, I'm going to start counting the hours until the end of my stream. And that's something you never want to get as a content creator. You don't want to sit there going, oh man, I've only been on here for 2 hours. I've got another 2 hours to play this game. Just to meet a quota. I don't want to do that. I don't think it's fair to you guys either. There's no way you guys can sit there and be entertained by someone who genuinely just has concerns and can, you know, sit there and dislike the game. And this is another problem as well, and I'm not saying it's your guys' fault at all, because I totally understand everyone's concerns with this video game. We totally understand. I totally understand that. We did a whole podcast discussion video, podcast live stream, discussion live stream. I sat and talked to you guys for 4 hours about all of these concerns. Yeah. And although we did that as a discussion topic, every single live stream that I do is almost about you guys not liking what the developers are doing on Texas. It's always about that. And I'm totally fine with that. You guys can get anything off your chest that you want about the video games that you're playing. That's totally fine. But again, it boils down to this game having problems. People can't ignore the problems that it has for some white knight potential bootlicking prowess that they have. Like, people just kind of have a mindset like, well, if I'm being positive and nice about the game, maybe Wes will give me a hand job or something. People kind of just getting that mentality about it. It's like, you don't owe anything a gun at all. You've paid your money for the game. Now it's time for you to get a good return back on that game to where you feel like your time is worth playing it, right? I mean, yeah, you get 200 hours worth of gameplay from there. But it's a weird one, okay? So, a lot of games, they come out, single player games or whatever, you pay like $70 for it. You can be done with that game in like 10 hours or less. People get like that. Let's understand, but at least some of those single player games, they're polished, they feel nice. It's like with Dead Space remake, for example. I've only played that once. I paid a lot of money for it, but I don't care because I had a really fun experience playing through that. I really did, and it might have been a one and done for me. I could go back and play that anytime I want to play it through the single player again. There's options there all the time. These multiplayer games, it's like you pay $40 at launch for the game. Realistically, the only way you're putting in a lot of hours there is because you want to get your profile level up, really, or the progression system. And the fact is, if you have everything maxed out by level 70, I think it's level 70 on this game, you can get everything and everyone maxed out. Doesn't take a lot of time. And you look at all the other multiplayer games that I've played, that you've played, you've probably got a lot more time in them. Yeah, this game's more newer, but how are you not done with this game already? Like, Fortnite, everything is fucking new all the time. Diablo, everything, you get loads of different classes, you can level up loads of different classes, you can get loads of different gear and level that up, there's just loads of shit there. Dead by Daylight, level up all the different characters and stuff. There's always something there. And Texas, it's like, I just get the feeling it's not going to fucking have it. I don't think it's going to have it. And I'm just terrified for the game's future. I really am. And I'm scared for the future of the channel as well, because I really thought Gun might have done something a lot different than what Saber did, and they would have went on a full attack plan like Behavior did with Dead by Daylight, and then been like, all right, we're going to have this really cool progression system. You're going to have skins you can unlock. We're going to have these skins dropping so frequently. We're going to have content dropping so frequently. We're going roadmap, again, one of the most important factors there. We're not getting it. But it feels like every response we get is almost them saying, shut up and take your medicine. Like, that's it. It just feels like that to me. Like I said, a lot of you guys might genuinely have fun playing the game, and that's totally fine. But this is where we're at now, and I'm kind of just, I'm scared. I'm scared to play the game. I'm scared to stream it, because I know ultimately that there could be something better for me out there. I feel like there's a game out there that we can do a daily grind on that we're all going to enjoy and love. And we had that with Evil Dead almost. We could have done a daily grind on there, but with Texas, I just got so dangerously close to counting the hours of my stream just for the sake of meeting a quota to you guys, or to, not you guys, but just to meet a quota to making my channel stay relevant, with the YouTube algorithm, just to kind of show my face. Like, I didn't want that. And, when you look at the last few streams that I've done, you can probably tell the different kind of person I am and how much more positive I am playing those games. Like, playing Fistful of Boomstick, playing The Walking Dead Destinies, playing Dead Space, to playing Diablo 4. Like, you could probably tell how much more enjoyment and happiness I was having than covering a game like Texas, where you're loading it up and this kind of thing just slowly descends upon you in your brain of just like doubt and despair. I don't know, it's just so weird. So weird to explain. And I know you guys and a few people probably just think I'm being a grown-ass man crying over a video game. It's whatever. You can think that way you want, but at the end of the day, it's my job doing content. And I think it's very important to pick flaws out of video games, and it's very important to a lot of people to understand how I am acting and why I'm acting the way I am about a particular game. Because, and then, you know, I go back to you guys all asking me, why do I hate Dead by Daylight so much? I think if we had the combination of Dead by Daylight's content in terms of content drops, strategy, battle passes, you know, the rifts, the challenges, all that, I feel like if we had that with Texas Chainsaw Massacre's gameplay, you've got almost the perfect ASYM game there. And with Dead by Daylight, I don't like the gameplay. You know, 4,500 hours sitting on a generator is just, it kind of eats away at you mentally. At least with Texas, you know, you're up and moving around, you're interacting with the other side, and that's what an ASYM game should be. That's what I kind of find fun about it. But it's just everything around it, man. Everything around it just feels off, done on a cheap budget, and just feels... It's just lacking the fucking substance there. And I that's the problem. That's the problem I have with the game, ultimately. But, so where we go from here, guys, I really don't know. I hope he's enjoying this podcast, by the way. It's a bit of a weird one. You know, I'm kind of doing this on the fly. I'm not really reading from notes or anything like that. I'm just speaking whatever comes to mind and trying to get across a lot of thought processes behind Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat as me, especially around my channel. There might be a few people who will see this who aren't subscribed to the channel, just think, oh, this guy, he's just bitching for no reason, or he's bitching for views or whatever. You know, I enjoy doing my podcasts and sharing my thoughts about a game. I really do. And, you know, I don't want to just keep trashing every single video game that comes out, but, you know, recently there just hasn't been anything great. The closest thing great for me has been Payday 3, but I'm holding off a little bit on that game before I start covering it, because I know once it gets to you know, a couple more heists, it's going to be time to start cycling through heists and streaming that game and having fun with that. I just know it. It will happen. But Texas has been out a bit longer than Payday, and it just doesn't feel like an improved game yet. It really doesn't. Unless I see something I like that I'm intrigued about, then I'll go back to it. But sometimes I sit here and I just like, it's like there's a business side to me, and then there's like a personal side to me. And, you know, who wants the pleasure of a nice video game versus, you know, the business side of me that's like, you've got to do it. You've got to stream Texas Chainsaw's new content. You've got to do it because you know you'll get loads of views, or you'll get quite a good amount of views, because it usually happens. It's happened with Dead by Daylight, Evil Dead, and Texas. It's happened previously once there's new content dropping. I just know that, you know, I'll get a good amount of views. You'll get a lot of eyes on the channel, you get a lot of subscribers, but ultimately, it's kind of wrong to think like that, because although I might get new subscribers, I might get new viewers, they might only be interested in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's not a be rude to them, but it's not the kind of people I want around. You know, I want the people that are going to be watching every single podcast video I put out, every single stream that I do. You know, I've got quite a few people who love to do that. And, you know, we've built a really amazing community over these ASYM games, and I'm thankful for it. You know, I've only got a couple of people around in the streams these days that are actually from prior to when I streamed ASYM games. And when most of my community's all been built from Evil Dead mainly, some from Dead by Daylight, and a few from Texas. And I thank you guys who do come around in all these different streams that I've been doing recently, doing the single player ones. Like, when I see people who turned up for the Walking Dead Destinies and then watched my video afterwards, like, you guys have no fucking idea how happy I was seeing how interested and fun we could all have together on a different game that wasn't an ASYM game. Like, branching out, doing something fun like that was a fucking blast, and I was so happy. I was really so happy. But I said, we streamed Fistful of Boomstick again, got a lot of people involved with that on the stream. You guys enjoyed it. I broke my back basically sitting there for nearly 8 hours beating the game, but it was a lot of fun. But then we streamed Diablo, and I seen a lot less people come in, and it kind of scared me, because I was like, oh god, I would have thought there'd be a lot more people interested in Diablo on my channel. But when I streamed DVD, I had an average of 20 people come in, almost the same people every day. And we streamed Evil Dead, we had an average of between, I would say, 70 to 100 viewers almost every day. It was a blast doing that. And then when it was on Texas, again, every day I've been getting, we were getting a lot of viewers. It was kind of weird with Texas because it fluctuated up and down quite a lot, and I don't know what was going on there. It felt like people were just getting bored of the game, or bored of me, which is fine. So we had about, with Texas, I would say about 60 to 100 daily, average. On a good day, we'd get over 200 people watching on a content drop or whatever. We had a shitload of people watching, and it was enjoyable. But it's just in a mindset of a content creator right now, and my mindset is I just don't want my success on my channel dependent on a game like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't want that. I want to create success through games that I really have passion for. And yeah, I had the passion for Texas, but ultimately it's just been wiped out because everything that I'm seeing happening with the game, it just feels off to me. I don't know, I can't put my finger on it exactly. It just doesn't feel right. And maybe that'll change, who knows. I hope it does change to the point where maybe I can go, all right, I'm happy to pick Texas back up now, because they're adding battle passes, they're adding there's loads of fucking skins for me to grind for, or something like that. That would be great. But I just don't think it's the game for me. I don't think it's the game that deserves to be on my channel. I don't think it's the game that my community deserves. I feel like everyone here, and thank you for reaching this part of the podcast, by the way, hopefully you're enjoying it. I feel like everyone here, we all deserve something better, something way more fun, enjoyable, that I can be excited for, you guys can be excited for, we can play together. And it's just all about finding that game. Like I said, I know this is primarily a horror channel. I am a horror fan in some ways. I keep saying I'm not a huge horror fan. I'm not. A lot of you guys might come in here thinking I've seen every Halloween movie, I've seen every Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I haven't. I really haven't. Like I said, I've only watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time a couple of months ago when the game came out. Like I said, you guys might sit there thinking, oh, he's a huge horror fan. I'm really not. And I don't go out and just wait and see, oh man, I can't wait for the next Scream movie. That's not me. And same thing with the Saw movies and stuff. I've always been more into the whole survival horror stuff, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, zombie things like World War Z and stuff. That type of horror. That's why I like Evil Dead so much, because it's deadites. They're sort of similar to zombies, but slasher flicks, things like that was never my cup of tea, really. So it's just kind of weird how my channel started to lean into this a lot. And it was primarily due to Stranger Things is the why I started in these ASYM games, because they got into Dead by Daylight. To be fair, I didn't really know anything about Stranger Things before Dead by Daylight when they released them there. I started watching the show just before after they got released. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I got into doing all this. And before that, I was doing Payday videos. I was doing Killing Floor 2 videos, stuff with zombies and gore, that type of thing. And we were doing battle royales. You know, I was always a competitive first-person shooter player, and Gears of War competitive player. I was all about that. I was, you know, streaming PUBG, Apex Legends. Apex Legends I streamed for a long time. I got really good at that game. I love Titanfall, all the mechanics about that. I used to do Titanfall videos as well. You know, I started out doing all that, and I thinking back then how much fun I used to have, and I didn't have any viewers. Back then, I didn't have anyone. I was doing, you know, Left 4 Dead mod videos. I was doing Payday videos. Some of them got a lot of views, you know, 14,000 plays. And the weird thing was, obviously back then when I was first starting out, I didn't have a consistent schedule. I didn't have, you know, the same people coming around like I do now. And that's why I feel so thankful. Saying that, it's Thanksgiving. This is why I feel so thankful for you guys, because there's so many people on my channel that's dedicated to the content we create here. And it's something special. It really is. And I kind of want to make a mix now where we go back to what we were sort of doing, where we were doing Payday stuff. We were doing these fun games and trying to grow a community from there. I think it'll be very difficult to do financially as well, and viewership wise. I think it'd be something very difficult to do. But I think that could, you know, in the long run, benefit me more than what we've tried to do previously with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because when that game come out, you know, Evil Dead died. They said they weren't doing any more content for the game, and I think once I don't know if I read that on stream or not, when they weren't doing any more content for the game, but something just inside of me just snapped to where I was like, I'm kind of done with these fucking ASYM games. And then I was like a refugee from Evil Dead. I was like, I'll float to the island of Texas. Float to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Save me. Just keep me afloat. You know, I went there and, you know, I really, really tried to do my best to get invested with the game. But the success of the game and my channel, I don't want it to depend on a publisher or developer like Gun. Because I just feel like, because we're already questioning if the game is dying, it's not a good sign. The game's already been on sale, and with all the current problems with the game, and don't get me wrong, there's nice people that work at Gun. You can genuinely see in there, you know, when they're doing the dev Q&As and stuff. I mean, Wes was a bit of a eye roller in the last dev Q&A, but, you know, I think Matt's a cool guy, the community manager dude. I think he can be funny sometimes. But I just think it's just not hitting the mark for a lot of people, including myself. And I think that's why the game is just, might fizzle out. I hope it doesn't, for the sake of people who enjoy the game and who have fun with it. I hope it doesn't. I hope one day we can maybe say, wow, okay, let's go back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because look at the progression they've got in that game now. Look at how expansive it is. It's not just this flat vanilla plain ice cream that it was before. And it's still, like I said, it's just the new map. To be honest, the new map is quite exciting, even though I feel like it'll still play very similar to the old maps. But with it coming out on Tuesday, we haven't really seen a whole lot about it, and I'm kind of worried. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of worried about it. And you know, I might still sit there and on Tuesday. I might check it out. I'm still undecided on that. I want it to feel right if I do. I don't want to do it for the sake of just potentially gaining a lot of views. But you know, maybe I will have to default that at some point if whatever I want to do doesn't work. You know, if I start doing Payday 3 live streams, they don't work, then I guess I'll just have to go back. And I don't want to have to do anything, but it is a business at the end of the day. And like I said, the business side of me eats away at me a lot. Thinking your viewers are down, your support's down, you're going to have to do something about it. And I don't like feeling that way. But Evil Dead, I didn't have that because I was covering a game I had so much fucking passion for. And I get so angry with all these same sort of type of decision making, but you know, it was Evil Dead. It was Bruce Campbell. I was willing to accept it and put some fucking blind goggles on just to try and play the game and have fun with it, and not be so attached to what the developers are doing, and not, you know, just playing the game for what it was. I enjoyed the game for that. But with Texas, I can't do that. I can't ignore what's going on with the game at all. Every time I pick it up, I'm just like, it's just, I see a new problem almost every time, or I see the same problem every time I play it, and I don't like it. I don't like it. But anyways, I'm gonna round off the podcast there, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I was a bit, you know, slower talking here. I'm extremely tired. You know, we've done some long streams this week. You know, it's weird to me doing like 7.5 hour, 8 hour streams. It's something I don't normally do. But that's just how much I've been enjoying the single player games. But I'm incredibly tired from it. That's why I didn't stream today. I'm very tired from from doing those. But they were fun. And I want to say thank you guys who definitely who turned up to those, who turned up to watching Dead Space 2 and Fistful of Boomstick and The Walking Dead Destinies. It was a lot of fun doing those games. And yeah, I mean, here we are with the channel. I don't know where we go. Like I said, I'm just looking for a new game, really. I'm looking for a new main game. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. I wanted it to be Payday 3, honestly. You know, I bought a collector's edition for that. It's just not quite there yet. It's not quite there yet. I might stream Payday 3's new update, but you know, I miss being on the streams daily, having a game that we can go to and just play over and over again every day, and you know, see everyone every day, talk to you guys, how he's doing with your lives and stuff. I miss it so fucking much. I really do. It's just right now I'm kind of scrambling around trying different things out, and we're just going through loads of single player games right now that not everyone is going to turn up to, which is unfortunate because I do miss a lot of you guys who did only watch me for Texas. But it's understandable. I mean, this is the life of a content creator, really, and we all get these headaches. And every single content creator always feels kind of stuck to their one game, their one niche of a game. And it is what it is, really. At the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. I feel like I'm getting to the point now where I want to do this to enjoy it and to be happy and to see all you guys happy. I think we just created, and I'm not saying it's really a bad thing, but I feel like from the end of Evil Dead and the start of Texas going into the mid of Texas's like lifespan so far, it just started becoming like, I'm not saying it's your guys' fault because you all have your problems with the game. I have my problems with the games as well. But I feel like we deserve a better game, like just talk positive things about, you know, when we're all coming into the stream and we're all saying, oh, this is shit, that's trash, this is trash, this is trash, you know, this perk doesn't work, that perk doesn't work. When we're all saying that, including myself, on a game, maybe it's just something we need to get away from. And that's what I keep thinking in my brain here, is like, maybe it's if we go on Payday 3 and we're doing heists every day, like you guys are joining me for a heist, you know, I dress up as a fucking bank robber with a suit and, you know, I put my mask on for a cosplay, you know, doing some fun shit like that. I think we could all enjoy that way more than, oh man, this cook spam is so boring, you know, just something like that with Texas. I'm just, I think we're all fed up with it. I think we're all fed up. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Like I said, I apologize for a bit of a slower energy and lower energy feel one to what I normally do, but this needed to be said. Trying to find the right words. I don't want to upset anyone, even people who don't come around this channel too much. I don't want to upset anyone about the game or how I see the game. I don't want, you know, white knights in my comment section. I'm trying my best here to kind of see both sides of the coin for people who genuinely have fun with the game, who don't mind hopping on it every day. It's totally fine. You know, it's just, I think we all, like, I'm speaking for a majority of people here on my channel. I think a lot of people are just kind of bored of the game and how the devs are kind of talking to them. And, you know, the devs themselves have been deleting comments on Reddit and stuff. This is stuff I don't really look into too much, but you know, it's just when you're hearing stories like that from viewers, you just kind of get the feeling that, oh my god, man. You start feeling like the developers have some ego about them, and you know, it's sometimes you just want to fucking enjoy a video game and not have to sit here and think about what's the problems, why are people leaving the game, what can the game improve on. Like, I don't want to be sitting here thinking that all the damn time about a video game that I'm covering on my channel, because it's just fucking toxic. Like, I am toxic. Okay, yeah, I am toxic, you know. This is just reality we're living in right now. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving over in the States as well. I know there's a Thanksgiving today. It's not a holiday over here, so I really don't know the dates on that. But yeah, I just want to say big thanks to everyone who supports the channel as well currently. And you know, I'm really doing my best to try and keep some content going out there and some games we can all enjoy, and you know, you can get a laugh at me playing through or whatever. And we will be getting a main game soon. We will. I'll find something, and it won't be Texas, but I'm not ruling out the possibility of going back to Texas at all. I'm not saying I'm leaving the game forever or anything. I'm just, I need to think about it a lot. You know, I need to think about it for my channel a lot. We've just done a whole revamp of the channel from the banner, profile picture, and on the streams. You know, we kind of went to this yellow feel. I try to make something more fresh, you know, tied to the whole red and black edgy vibe of like trying to create a sort of horror channel, making it look horror-esque. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to do something new, something fresh, and hopefully it pays off in the long run. But thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys think of anything I've talked about in this podcast. We talked about a shitload of stuff. You know, this is going on and probably like nearly an hour and a half. I don't know how long this podcast is going to be, but I do appreciate anyone who's stuck around to the end. Like I said, leave me a comment, hit that sub button if you're new to the channel as well. I currently don't have a main game, but I'm checking out a bunch of other games and single player games right now. So if you kind of like my personality, this probably is not the best video to get my personality from. You can go check out some of my older live streams that we've done. You can really see what kind of blast that we have in those games and how we play them. But thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Pixel, this is my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.